We begin in post-war New York, moving past the mid-century storefronts and into a sprawling, sun-drenched garden. It's a wedding day, and the Corleone family is putting their most respectable face forward for the public to see. But that bright sunlight is a deliberate choice by cinematographer Gordon Willis. He uses harsh exterior lighting to expose the family's public facade, while burying their private, illicit dealings in heavy, impenetrable shadows. Inside, shielded from the sun, Don Vito Corleone sits in his dimly lit office. He spends his daughter's wedding day granting favors, enforcing a strict personal code built on honor, loyalty, and carefully calculated violence. Back outside in the glaring daylight sits his youngest son, Michael. He is entirely separated from his father's shaded room, making a point to tell his girlfriend that he wants absolutely nothing to do with the family business. By physically placing Michael in the light and Vito in the dark, the film sets up its central tension. It asks a precise question. If you are born into a system of entrenched corruption, is it actually possible to remain an innocent outsider? At this point, Michael has the resume to prove his independence. He is a decorated war hero, celebrated by the public, and explicitly rejects the criminal empire his father built. That fragile separation breaks when a new external threat emerges. The narcotics trade is beginning to take hold in the city, led by an ambitious kingpin named Virgil Sollozzo. Sollozzo approaches the Corleones for backing, but Vito rejects the deal. He draws a hard line between their current rackets, like gambling, which he sees as an acceptable vice, and heroin, which violates his traditional code of honor. Vito's strict adherence to those traditional rules in a rapidly evolving underworld instantly makes his family a target. His refusal to adapt leaves them vulnerable, setting a chain of violent, inevitable events into motion. The retaliation is swift. Sollozzo's men ambush Vito in the street, and the Don is gunned down, taking 5 bullets before collapsing. Vito survives, but is critically wounded. When Michael visits the hospital, he discovers the wards are completely empty. A corrupt police captain named McCluskey has cleared the guards, leaving his father entirely unprotected for a second hit. Standing in those empty halls, Michael realizes that passive detachment is no longer an option. If he maintains his moral high ground and does nothing, his father will be murdered. To save his family, he volunteers for a task that guarantees he crosses the line. Under the guise of a truce meeting at a local Italian restaurant, Michael plans to execute both Sollozzo and Captain McCluskey himself. The moment he pulls the trigger in that restaurant, the decorated war hero ceases to exist, and the mobster is born. Michael flees into exile in Sicily, triggering a massive, expanding gang war across New York's territories. The violence catches up to both locations. In New York, his brother Sonny is brutally ambushed. In Sicily, Michael's wife is murdered by a car bomb. Stripped of his closest allies and his wife, Michael returns to America a different man. He steps up to lead the family, adopting a cold, calculated operational philosophy. It's not personal, it's strictly business. He completely discards his father's old-world code of honor. Under Michael, the family's organized crime syndicate operates with the exact same ruthless, systemic efficiency as a massive American corporation. The transition of power becomes absolute when Vito suffers a fatal heart attack while playing in his garden. With his father gone, Michael assumes full command. Visually, the cinematography traps him in his new reality. He has entirely abandoned the bright sunlight of his youth and now sits rigidly in the heavy shadows of his father's old office. This brings us to the climax of the film, during his infant nephew's baptism, a sequence that serves as the ultimate execution of Michael's cold, structural planning. Assuming the title of Don signifies the final death of Michael's innocence, he has mastered the very systemic power he once tried to escape. The sequence rapidly cuts between 2 distinct worlds. In a bright, peaceful church, Michael calmly recites sacred vows, while out in the streets, a coordinated wave of extreme violence unfolds. Exactly as he verbally renounces Satan at the altar, his hitmen are systematically executing the rival heads of the 5 families. In the same stroke, he eliminates all internal traitors within his own ranks. This highly synchronized purge solidifies his absolute, unchallenged monopoly over the underworld. He entered the darkness out of a genuine love for his family, stepping in to protect his father. But to preserve their sprawling empire, he had to completely destroy his own moral character.